Okay, here's I'm back. Here's the connector to the stereo here, and I don't know if y'all can see, but this wire right here broke off the connector right at the end of the connector, and this little guy holds, see if I can get that in there, that little guy right there holds all those connectors in there, and there's another little tab, metal tab in the connector that you have to stick in right through above where my fingernail is. I'm not sure. Let me get you in the picture right there, and that will release the connector in there. And so what I had to do is I'm pulling that out, I'm soldering a wire, and then I'm pulling it out from here, and then I'm going to solder a wire to this guy. And this is an aftermarket radio that was put in who knows when. I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm trying to put it all back together and put the battery back in, turn on the car, and then the stereo didn't want to work. So that was my issue. Again, it's an aftermarket. It has some focal tweeters, and I'm assuming in the doors there's some focal woofers. I'm not sure, haven't seen them. But that's where I'm at right now with the car, just trying to get this done. The electrical's working. I mean, I pulled out it had an aftermarket alarm system, and I just said, you know what, I'm just going to take it out and put the car, back the way it was from the factory. So, everything turned on. I mean, I put the key in, put it to the right before the start, and you could hear the injectors injecting gas and all that stuff. So seems to be working. All right, I'll try and make a video. I'll go show you right now how I had to solder this thing. But all right, later, bye. All right, so here's that connector I was telling you about that I pulled out, and what I had to do was, well, what happens in this situation is when you pull it out, you're going to have to try and solder a piece of wire right there, and hopefully you have enough room that you can solder the wire. So you're going to solder a pigtail, and then on the car side you'll go and solder this onto the other wire, because you don't want to try and solder the car side to here because there may not be enough slack and whatever. So that's what I'm doing right now, and hopefully this is going to go back with no issue. It should go back into it with no issue. So I'm not sure how close I can get here if it's in focus, but there's the solder. There's my old soldering iron. I have some other nicer equipment like that, but this thing had that for, God, since 1981 or 82 is when I bought that, and it's been still working. But that's how I'm fixing that radio. It was the left side that's gone out. So hopefully when everything goes well, everything will work. But I'm going to tin this guy. The other side, I'm going to tin it too. I'm going to solder them. I'm going to put some heat shrink in here and then heat shrink it, and hopefully that's going to take care of the problem. Alrighty, later. Okay, so here I am. I'll try and do this as best I can. I don't have the tripod, but I'm just going to push that back in there, and hopefully it'll go in with no problems. There it is. And now this clip's just going to go down. Let's do that again. This guy right here is going to go in, and that's it. It holds it. So now I'm going to come back, put some heat shrink on this, and I'm going to, well, let me start over. I'm going to go back and I'm going to put some heat shrink in here, and then I'm going to probably tin this guy right there, and I'll solder it here in the car, trying not to burn anything or melt anything. So I'll probably solder that right there, and then put the heat shrink over that, and then hit it with a either a heat gun or a blow dryer on low to get the heat shrink to shrink down, and that's going to be my fix. I may just pull this wire. No, y'all can see there's a little tie right here. I may pull that wire out of there and maybe cut back after this. It's already been soldered right there, right about where my finger, well, it's kind of hard to see, but it's right about right there. So all right, I'll see if I can shoot some video of that later. Okay, here's some heat shrink that I've collected throughout the years. At one point I was a technician, and so this is the one I'm going to use. I'm going to put over the wire. I'm going to cut out probably about, I don't know, about 1.5 inches, just so I have enough room in there. And solder the wire inside the car, put this over, heat this up a little bit, make it shrink over it, and I'm hoping it's going to work. And hopefully I can get some video of that. Alright, be back a second. I'm not sure if y'all can see this, but I'll try my best to get it out of here. I got to get that wire out of there. He really made a mess of these wires. Whoever was doing this before, just, it's a shame. Who knows why they had to tap in over here on these guys. I guess I could cut that guy off. It'd probably be the easiest thing. I can always replace that with a, let me do that. That'd be the easiest thing. Okay, just be careful. I know these are these are a little bit big for this, but just be careful you don't cut into any more wires, because then you'll make the problem a little bit worse. Alright, so got that out of the way. You know what? This is like in the way. How do I get this out of here? Oh, okay. There you go. Alright. So now, let's see what happened here. Why would they have... Oh, that's just tape that fell down there. Okay. Again, I can't see if you guys can see what I'm doing, but... Oh, this is in the way. Let's do this. How about we can do... That'd be a lot better. Maybe. Not really. Okay, that seems to be better. All right, so yeah, I should have looked at this when I had the dash out, and that probably would have been the best thing. But you know, it's one of those things I just didn't realize it. So I'm just going to cut off this little thing right here, that solder, and then I'll solder these together, and hopefully everything's going to work. Let's see if I can do that right here. Yeah. Okay. Again, you gotta make sure you're not cutting anything. Right. Now, man, this is a tight, confined space. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to strip this without cutting any of the wire. Need more of the wire, basically. All right. A little bit more. Okay. Again, I can't see. It's kind of hard for me to see if you guys are able to see that. So anyway, so then I'll solder these together here, and then I'll slide the heat shrink over that, and let's hope that everything will work. Okay, be back in a little bit.